At the same time, he doesn't simply let young people off the hook. He shares that to be successful will require a ton of hard work over time, learning new skills, and constantly going outside your comfort zone. I guarantee that if you follow Scott's advice, your success will not be a question of if, it will be a question of when. This book and Scott's highly trafficked youth entrepreneurship columns are just the start of the Never Get a Real Job movement, and I'm honored that my organization is a part of it. Michael Simmons, founder of the Extreme Entrepreneurship Tour. Introduction. Scott, when are you going to get a real job? With those words, my mother had decided to bring up the question for what seemed like the millionth time. A question that had become the dreaded, bane of my existence conversation starter. One that felt like root canal surgery without the Novocaine every time I heard it. Even though I had fought hard to win this discussion countless times before, she simply wouldn't let the topic die. Being 1 year out of an expensive university without a real job to show for it gave my steady paycheck, benefits-loving schoolteacher mother heart palpitations. Granted, I wasn't making much money at the time, but I certainly wasn't living on the streets begging for change either. My startup company was generating a modest income, comparable to most entry-level positions, and was enabling me to feed myself, pay my rent, and socialize like any other normal 20-something-year-old. And although I was busting my ass, hustling my way into pitch meetings with Fortune 500 companies, every time I heard my name in the same sentence with the phrase real job, which according to my mother meant one with a specific title in which I worked for someone else, well, it was almost as if none of my hard work mattered. Fear of deviation from the straight arrow path drove my mother to constantly ask this question of me. And the only way she could calm her fears was to try to scare the hell out of me and to point out why my life choices were unequivocally flawed. One day you're going to have a family. How are you going to support them? You'll want a nice house. You'll have to pay a mortgage, she cautioned frequently. The tone of this discussion changed regularly, usually shifting between loud and louder. However, the main points were always consistent. What are you doing with your life? Why did I send you to college? How do you plan to make a living? Frustrated and standing my ground, we'd begin the big debate. I know what I'm doing, I would reply. Just because I don't work 9 to 5 like you doesn't mean I'm not making a living. She'd respond with an apples to oranges comparison. Your friends are all moving forward in their lives. They all have good jobs and are building their careers. I don't understand why you can't do the same. I'd throw in some sharp-tongued, sarcastic comment, criticizing her values. You taught me to be a leader, not a follower, didn't you? Or was that only meant to be applied to every other aspect of my life? My mother would inevitably try to end the debate with an existential-sounding proverb of her own design, meant to illuminate my foolish train of thought. You don't want to wake up one day and see that life has passed you by, do you? But it never ended there. This argument was a test of wills. It could go on for 5 minutes or 5 hours. But after all of the pointless back-and-forth banter and skyrocketing blood pressure, the exchange only resulted in a stalemate and fueled similar debates later. There is a good reason that becoming an entrepreneur feels so natural to so many of us, whether they realize it or not, and as I pointed out to my mother during these trying discussions, our parents and our teachers encouraged us to be that way. Years of lauding and back-patting ingrained in us the notion that we could conquer the world. Ironically, what our mentors neglected to teach us was how to actually live that lifestyle. And the thought of us not getting a job terrifies them. Why? Because our parents learned from our grandparents that a job, preferably a safe one with benefits and a pension, was necessary for survival.